I've said I love you in my head while looking at you so many times.
True friend.
Seb, I'll be your girlfriend.
Oh my God, everybody needs a friend like Brittan and Dominic. I am here for Dominic, letting the girls know that she is Team Nick and explaining what is going on with Jawah and Nick. Hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's Valerie again. Welcome back to my channel. Oh my God, I'm so excited. You know, I'm excited again. So, in this episode, I'll be reviewing Too Hot to Handle, season 4, episode 9. And so to start off with, Jawa and Sean are still having their conversation. You know, Sean has asked her to spend the night in his bed, and I have to give Jawa a lot of credit because as soon as she walks into the bedroom, she calls Nick. They go to the dressing room. They have a conversation. She explains what's going on, and you know, the fact that she would like to continue to explore things with Sean and see how they go. So she lets Nick know she doesn't blindside him like everybody else blindsided their partners. She lets him know she's going to be spending the night with Sean, and she just wants to see how far that will go. And Nick, on his part, he's sort of taken aback, I think, because in their relationship, I think Nick was way further ahead than Jawa. And I think Jawa, because of her history and her sort of baggage that she came into this relationship with, this is why she kept taking steps forward with Nick and then sliding back, you know, to her old habits. And then sort of like, when I say old habits, I mean trying to self sabotage, as she explained. So Jawa enters Sean's bed, and everybody is shocked. Their faces. James was asleep. He woke up. He saw it. He couldn't believe it. He went back to bed. Nigel, Nigel r- dove under his sheet and wouldn't come out. When Nick came out, he stayed under his sheet. I think because he couldn't look at Nick. I think he felt so bad for Nick. Everybody else, Seb woke up Kayla to say, "Can you see what's happening?" Britain, her mouth was on the floor. Um, Dominic, her mouth was on the floor. They all couldn't believe. Even Flavia and Creed were shocked. Everybody was shocked because everybody knows how close Jawa and Nick have been since the start of the show. Nick stayed in the dressing room. I think to sort one thing about Nick is I think he's someone who likes to zen himself, to sort of center himself, and doesn't is not reactive, but is very well thought out in whatever he does. And so I think this is why he needed time to sort of regroup and not just come in and behave a certain way. And so I have to give him credit because he's handled the whole Sean and Joe thing with a lot of dignity and respect. And the faces that Sean was making, like, you know, I've won, and it's like, I don't think so. You haven't seen Nick and Jawa together. You've only seen them from a distance. You should have spent more time with them, and then you'd understand how close they are. This is why everybody is shocked. And he thought he had won. I think in his head, he thought he had won. The fact that she agreed to sleep with him, he felt she was leaving Nick for him, and I don't know what he thought he had told her that would have convinced her enough to leave Nick. Nick was heartbroken. He says in the morning when he was asked, "How did you sleep?" He says, "I didn't even sleep at all." And it's so sad. You can see that even though Jawa is with Sean in the bed, you can see how uncomfortable she is and how heartbroken. I don't know whether this love triangle was brought in by the producers or whatever, but I have to give a lot of credit to Nick because Nick didn't sleep. In the morning, he spent the night in the same bed as Imogen. Imogen was cuddling her pillow. He stayed on his side, she stayed on her side. And as soon as they were released, he moved out of the bedroom and off he went. I think he couldn't stand the sight of seeing Sean with Jawa, and I think this is why he wanted to leave the room as soon as possible. And so it's interesting. It's really, I think, had it not been for his maturity and his sort of emotional growth, I don't think they would have lasted as long as they have. The boys have a conversation. Nigel, Creed, and Seb are playing, you know, dodgeball in the pool, and they have a conversation with Creed, sort of trying to help him sort of come to an understanding of what is going on in his relationship and what's the way forward for him. And he is sort of still torn in between both girls, and the boys are trying to let him know that you need to tell Imogen that you're not interested. Don't keep stringing her along. Let her know it's you and Flavia, and you need to let go of Imogen. And he sort of makes as though he's going to give up on Imogen, but he's not very convincing in his response. He's not at all. You can tell he likes the idea of playing the game between both girls and he wants to drag it as long as he can. um Snake is on his own. He just like the in episode 8, he spent a lot of time on his own. I think he was just trying to think and just sort of helping himself process the idea that Jawah might not come back to him. Sean is in cloud nine. He's working out. He's happy. And I like the fact that the girls were there for Jawah to help her try and process what she was going through. Brittan sat down with her, tried to have a conversation with her. She explained to her that be careful, you don't lose Nick because of what you're trying to do. And also, I like the fact that although the girls are allowing Jawa to make her own decision. They're making sure that she understands that she's got a great thing going with Nick. She doesn't need to throw it away for the unknown, for something that might not actually be good and then later left to regret. So it was great for the girls. I think it's nice when you have a show and the girls are actually a sisterhood and they're not catty, but they're there to sort of help build and empower one another. Um, and then James and Britton go on a date. Oh, they're so cute. It's a pity that they had all this, they didn't develop as much as the other couples throughout the show, unless they spent a lot of time together that we didn't see. But it's a pity that we didn't get to see them. They go on their date, it's on the beach. They're both from Hawaii. So even if they decided to sort of continue their relationship afterwards, I think it would be easier for them to see one another in Hawaii than it would be for someone like Seb and Kayla. So they have a conversation, they get their green light. Oh my God. You can see how excited Britain is the moment, because she was worried. I think this is the one area of their relationship they hadn't explored. And when they got to kiss, oh, she was so excited. After the kiss, she looked at her watch and she went, it's still great, it's still great. So they carried on. It was the sweetest thing ever. And I'm so excited for Britain. As usual, Creed is just playing with the girls. He started with Imogen, told her he finds her attractive and, he wants to get to know her and see how far that goes. We know he's just playing games. He's not doing it. I don't think he's really that interested. And then Kayla and Seb, they have the date on a boat, but it's on the beach. And they sort of have the conversation about a long distance relationship and do they think it will actually be worth it? And do they think they can make it? And it's a bit difficult, I think. I think with distance, there is a lot of difficulty there because the difference in time zone, someone is going to bed, someone is waking up, or you're a couple of hours, 4 or 5 hours behind, or you're 4 or 5 hours ahead. I don't know what the time difference is, but I don't know. Kayla and Seb, for me, I've always said, I don't know. But anyway, Seb asks Kayla to be his girlfriend. She says yes. Do I think they will last? I don't know. I don't think their relationship has developed as much as Jawa and Nick. I don't know. From what we've seen, it seems like their relationship is more physical than anything else. It seems like there's no depth to their relationships because all they talk about is their bodies, how attractive the other person is, how they want to bang the other person, and that's all we seem to hear with the two of them. We don't really see anything further than that. So I don't know whether that relationship will survive. And then Lana calls Jawa to the bedroom and and tells her to go to the cabana. Nick has to sit in the bedroom, and Sean is in the dressing room, and they sort of have a three-way conversation, and they are offered the opportunity to sort of go on a date and wait to see if Jawa will pick either one of them. I think Nick was very hesitant because he told Jawa he would give her space. I think he was very hesitant and they didn't like the idea of sort of competing for someone like he was forcing someone. So Lana had to actually push him to say, I need you to make a decision. And he eventually agreed to go on the date. And I think it was from my point of view, looking at it, I there's no doubt in my mind that Jawa would have picked Nick. And so when she picked Nick, I jumped up and down because I was so excited because I didn't like the tension that was between them because you could tell they really care about one another. Even when Jawa was speaking to Nick about going into Sean's bed, you could tell there were tears in their eyes as they were talking, that these are two people who care about one another, but they know that they have to go through this. They sat at their different venues, both Sean and Nick, and Jawa chose Nick, and I was so excited. He was so happy. He said he's upset about everything that's taken place, but he is happy she chose him, and I think everybody would say yes, we're all happy she chose him because it's. I know on Twitter some people are saying, "Oh, you can't. She's better off with someone who looks like her," and it's like, yeah, but at the end of the day, you want someone who really loves you, who hears you, who cares for you, who gives you the attention that you need. And Nick has done all this and more for Jawa. So Sean coming in and saying, I feel my connection with her was very strong, and it's like your connection was only an afterthought. And your connection was because you liked her physical features. It's not because you took time to get to know who she is and what makes her tick. Because he tried to sort of bring things that similarities that they had. He tried to talk about how they were both adopted and that she was his black queen. And it's like there's more to a relationship than that. Look at how Nick is handling his relationship with Jawa and how you are handling your relationship with Jawa. And you can totally see the difference. So I don't think if you had actually, if nothing else, I don't think Sean should have expected Jawa to pick him, given everybody else in the room's reaction, because everybody else has spent more time with Nick and Jawa, and they know how close they are. So the idea that she would pick Sean, I think, was never a thought in anybody else's mind. So after picking Nick, they're so excited to see one another. Nick, what I like about Nick, as I've said so many times, is he's very rational and he's very well thought out. He was excited to see her, told her he was excited, but they needed to have a conversation. They had their conversation, and he explained. They both explained sort of their as view or their point. They sort of tried to put their point across of where they were coming from and why they were reacting or behaving the way they were. I have to give a lot of credit because Jawa really opened up and she told him the truth. I've never been in love, so I don't know what it is, but what I know is you make me feel a different way. And then Nick said, I've told you I love you in my head so many times looking at you. And it's like, oh my God, could he be any sweeter? And I like the fact that Dominic actually said it best because everybody, the other girls were like, "Oh, Nick is her comfort zone. Sean is the one for her," and Britton and Dominic had to stand up and say, "No, Nick is the one. She's is an area is something that is unknown to her. He's offering her something that she has never experienced before, and so she is afraid. And this is why she keeps trying to sort of self sabotage and sort of run away from him. And so." It was nice for everybody when they came and it was revealed that she picked Nick. Everybody was excited for her. When she then went and spoke to Sean, Sean said, "Okay, I am disappointed that you didn't pick me," and she apologized. I think she must have had a conversation with Nick and told him that if nothing else, I need to apologize to Sean and just explain what's going on. And he said, "Oh, I'm happy she apologized." And it's like, why should she apologize in the first place? You didn't initially pick her. You picked her as an afterthought just because you saw she might be interested in you. You really didn't do anything for her. She to make you stand out and sort of have her head fully turned for you. So why should she's doing you the courtesy of apologizing? Accept it and move on. Don't say, "Oh, I appreciate the fact that she apologized because I felt differently." Yeah, you felt differently, but how do we know your feelings were genuine? Because there's nothing that you did in all the time you were together except flirt with her and sort of try and make a pass on her that makes us believe that you truly care about her on the same level as Nick does. Um, so anyway, I digress. As I said before, I vent when it comes to Nick and Joe. I really like them as a couple. I like their compatibility and I like how they sort of care about one another and how they take time to sort of hear each other out. Um, and then obviously, Creed is still going through his mess, and so Lana calls everybody to the cabana and has a conversation, and sort of says, it's time for Nick to make a choice because he can't keep playing both Imogen and and Flavia. And I think Lana saw that this was a time bomb because at some point someone was going to find out that he is playing someone, and then the girls were going to fight. So instead of doing that they decided to confront it at a head in a controlled environment and make sure that everybody knew what was going on. The faces on everybody, because I think everybody was shocked because they thought, who broke the rules? Only to find out it's Creed. I don't know. We'll see what happens in the next episode. Thanks, guys, for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Bye, everyone.